Hello and welcome to the November Nutrition Coordinators meeting. We'll go ahead and get started this week with kind of doing our round robin, see how people are doing, see if they have any questions, see what's new in your area, and see if you're facing any challenges or start anything new. Check in to see if how your numbers are doing and whatnot. So we'll go ahead and get started with that, and then I'm going to on the second agenda item, I'm going to share my screen, and I wanted to introduce you to the Nutrition Resource Center, which is an ACL granted um, program. I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about the menu toolkit that they have available for the public to take a look at. So, and then I'm going to end with Lance, and he's going to go over a few updates with you as well. So there you go. So perfect. Well, welcome everyone, and I hope everyone's doing well. And we're looking forward to meeting you all coming up in December and seeing you in Kearney and working with our area plan meeting those 2 days. So we've been doing quite the preparation. I know Amy's been doing a lot of work as well. Everybody's been doing a lot of work. Amy's been definitely doing a lot of work leading this thing, and we're really excited to see everyone. So, well, we'll go ahead and get started. I'll just call people out randomly and just kind of give us a 2-minute update and see how you're doing. So, let's see here. How about let's go with Northeast. How about the team at Northeast?
Eric, I didn't want to be first.
Why not?
Oh, you picked us first.
Get it over with. You get it over with.
Okay, so not really much is new with our senior centers at the moment. Our numbers, our meal numbers are exceeding expectations. So we're actually running into some funding constraints with some senior centers, and which is always a good and a bad thing. And then we are also looking at doing a training in January for our senior centers to talk about the new service definitions that we will learn about in December. So that's about
Hey,
it.
that sounds great. Awesome. That sounds great. Well, very good. Well, that's awesome. You're going to do a training right afterwards, so everything will be fresh in your mind. Very good. All right. How about, let's see here. Here, what about Blue Rivers?
Hey, hi,
Carmen
Eric,
or
and the
Carla?
rest of you. Um, right now, we are adjusting to our numbers increasing a little bit with the cold weather. Um, we are still having issues with volunteers and getting people to come in and volunteer and deliver meals. Otherwise, things seem to be going fairly well here. We're working on getting programs into the senior centers to try and attract more congregate settings. But other than that, things seem to be going very well. I think one big snag, and I think we're going to talk about that in December at our meeting that we face here, is validation forms. So other than that, that's on my agenda. So if anybody else has something for agenda for our meeting out there, let me know.
And what was that again, Carmen? What was the topic again?
Meal validation forms.
Oh, validate. Okay, the verification forms.
Verification forms, yeah.
Oh yeah, same. Yeah, so, yeah. Gotcha. Very good. Yeah, talking about verifying those meals that are, whether they're home delivered meals, and seeing that check. It's kind of that checks and balance thing. Yeah, no, definitely bring that up, and we can definitely talk about that. That is something that we've been working with for the past year now. That was definitely an APA a request that we make. And yeah, if you have questions about that, we'd be more than happy to answer them and work with you on any of those things. So very good. By the way, any questions for Northeast or Blue Rivers? All right. I see Susie and Caitlin in Omaha.
Well, we're having flurries of snow, just very light. I think Omaha dodged the bullet around the area, but
Yeah.
as far as our senior centers, everything seems to be kind of chugging along pretty good. Our meal count has kind of stabilized. It's still a bit lower than it was pre-COVID, but it's kind of been steady for the last couple months. The center staff has kind of leveled off and stabilized. I had some turnover there for a while, so it's always a challenge when you get a new staff person in, but that, I knock on wood, that seems to be stabilizing. So we're just kind of getting ready for the holiday stuff, and we're doing pretty good. No big changes for congregate. I'll let Caitlin tell you about home delivereds.
Yes.
For home delivereds, we are seeing a big increase in referrals. Yesterday alone, I think we had 7 or 8 referrals come in. So that's good. So we are seeing an increase in numbers. We're still struggling with staffing as usual. And we are preparing for our frozen meals for the upcoming holidays to go out as well. And that's pretty much it in our world.
Very nice. Well, good. Good with the numbers and good for the future prep. Awesome. Any questions for Noah? Thank you both very much. All right. Let's see here. West Central. Is Angie on there? Yeah, there she is. Angie, West Central.
Hi, Eric. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, everything's going pretty good here. Getting out, doing those assessments. I think the biggest struggle for them right now is the meal cost. And then we have some that are still struggling with staffing issues. But everything we're saying about the same, maintaining.
Very good. Awesome. Thank you, Angie. Any questions for West Central? All right. I see Sam from Aon. Hello.
Hi. I think we're doing pretty well. Our numbers are about the same, still lower than pre-COVID, but I feel like every month there's a few more at each site, so that's nice. We're still dealing with some staffing issues. I feel like once we get one site resolved, then something comes up at another site, so that's been fun. We just had our legal clinic here in Sydney, so that was interesting to be able to be part of. But yeah, things are going really well.
Hey, great. Awesome. Well, very good. Any questions for Aon? Thank you, Sam. Let's move on to Rachel. What's going on?
Everything here is kind of in a good place too. We're fully staffed, and we've been fully staffed multiple months in a row now, which is wonderful. Our meal count is still a little lower than pre-COVID, but it still is increasing every month. And then when I add in, the to-go meals to total the number out, I think we're serving about the same amount as we were pre-COVID. We just have the portion of them that are doing the to-go option instead. We are really working on trying to get some more activities going to get people drawn back into the building. All of our counties will be going through bingo size training. So our plan is to
Great.
start bingo size the first of the year.
Oh, that's so good to hear. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yay.
And so that's what I'm working on now.
Perfect.
Other than that, nothing too exciting, and that's okay.
Very good. Hey, that's good. And yeah, the bingo size, I've heard really good things about it. And there's a couple of videos out there people can watch. And if they want, that is a great opportunity, a great Title 3D program. So yeah, very cool. Yeah, keep us updated on how that's going. Feel free to share any information, any feedback, any positive things on that for others. So awesome.
Okay. So far, the gentleman who's been helping me go through it all and get all the I's dotted and T's crossed, they have been wonderfully helpful and great to work with. I'm very grateful.
That's awesome. Really good to hear that. That's really neat. I think that's one of the things that we're really hoping to do, as we come out of these last couple years. It's been just, it's been really slow. I mean, you think about it, we were at that one point where, everybody was shut down and everybody was like, I'm not sure what the future is going to hold. But we've come through it and we've done a lot of good things. And I'd like to think that we're coming out the other side. It's just, making sure that we get that programming back, attract people back to the centers, get them moving again. That will really, really help. And so yeah, looking forward to the spring after the winter and maybe get stuff going. So awesome, very cool. Any other questions for Midland? All right, thank you, Rachel. All right, how about Sue at South Central? Is she on here? I didn't get a note that they weren't coming. Sue or Rod? Anybody from South Central? Okay, well, if they join on, we'll come back to them. How about Aging Partners? I'm not sure if Jill is on here. Anybody from Aging Partners? I thought there was Laura sitting in. If anybody from Aging Partners comes in later, we'll get back to them. So, all right, well, very good. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up, or any questions or concerns or things that they can think of? Well, if not, we'll move on to our next thing. Okay. If you have questions at any time, please let us know. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So the next item on the agenda is I wanted to show you guys, I wanted to go through and talk to you about the link that's in your agenda. And the link that's in there is really quite helpful because what you're going to see is this Nutrition and Aging Resource Center. Now, the State Unit on Aging in Iowa is the main operator of these materials. They had received a grant to sort of run this resource center, which is really neat. And they put on like these kind of coordinator calls, much like I'm doing with you, but with different nutrition coordinators across the country. So it's neat because there's a lot of things that they've shared with each other. And if you go here, there's some really interesting things that talk about menu creation. And I'm just going to pull this up. So this is just an example, and I will let you explore this on your own. I'm not going to go, showing you everything, but I really encourage you to take some time to take a look at this because, they've got some just basic, simple stuff and examples from other parts of the country. So they've got like when you're doing menu planning, what these portions would look like, what meal creation ideas would be. They've also got just some ideas about, what's served at different centers across the country. Like I said, these are all contributors from all over the place. And let's see here. There's like full meal program links. There's tons of links in this thing. And I encourage you to go online and check this out. Like here's Johnson County, Kansas. They've got all sorts of different things. This just gives you a chance to see what else is out there and see how other programs are, putting together menus or, what they're including in their menus, what types of foods that they have and whatnot. Let me go back to this one. They have all sorts of different types of things, including these different presentations that they put together, toolkit references, guides to salad bars. They even have like some presentations and takeaways that they have in here and some actual recorded meetings on YouTube which is kind of neat. So you can actually hear what some of these people are talking about. It was last modified just this last September. So this is just a really good resource to utilize when developing menus. Like here's toolkit references. Let's see here, pull that up. So yeah, if you want to check out like full menu programs here, you can go here. There's also this menu creation kit, which if this pulls up, hopefully. There we go. It's a whole bunch of information here with USDA on choosing different types of menus, what's more seasonal, things like that. Weekly meal planner. There's even stuff on this website that shows what other states are utilizing for determining, you know, how to meet the DRIs and how to make sure that things are included in each meal. Let's see here. Another cool thing was some of these presentations that they have in here. There's just a lot of information that is broken down, and some of those questions that those nagging questions that you may have can be found in some of these documents. So that's just kind of my introduction to this. Like I said, I really don't want to, you know, take up a lot of time going through this, but there's some great information here that's broken down. And if you just need new ideas and want to know what other states are doing, this is a great resource. So feel free to explore. So here's a question for everyone. When you're thinking about coming up with, and actually I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here. When you're thinking about coming up with new menu options, I know some places are doing surveys and, you know, asking people like maybe once a year what they like to see or what they like to see less of or more of. Do you feel that surveys help the most, or do you get better responses if you just kind of come up with menus on your own?
This is Carmen. That's really a loaded question in my area. We've done everything from check with what we've got out there as menus that a dietitian provides. Then they don't like those. They want more meat and potatoes, more substance foods. Then I've got some that absolutely demand liver and onions. And then I've got some that say, oh no, we can't make that work in our area. You know, and it's kind of a vicious circle, if you want me, my honest opinion. So this last time, and for December, I sent the menu out to all the cooks prior to, and you'd be amazed what I got back. Can we switch this day for that day, this day for that day? So anyway, it's been it's kind of comical some days. Everybody has their own idea. I'm finding our cooks know what I'm really finding. I think these tools will be awesome for us. But what I'm finding is our cooks kind of know their people the best. And since we're more rural with what we have to offer, that I think for us, it's our cooks. I have one center, Little Town of Douglas. They send me their menus circled every month, what they like and they don't like. And so that kind of helps me a little bit too, but it's kind of amazing how but everybody still wants to go back to meat and potatoes. And that's okay, but to me, it's kind of mundane and boring, but you know, to each their own. But yes, it's kind of a vicious circle, but I love these tools and I'm flipping through them on my other computer here, and I'm impressed with what is out there. So thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And thank you for the feedback. That's really important. We are definitely a meat and potato state. I think every place I've gone with probably everyone here can definitely say that that is a true statement. Exactly. So, but yeah, people have their preferences and they're kind of their cultural norms when it comes to food and their food ways. But yeah, that's one of the things that this website will help with. This resource center is just to give you ideas and see what other places are doing, because there's other states that are just like us that are very much meat and potatoes. Think of Iowa, same kind of mentality, and maybe even more so in some places, or more like pork and potatoes. They're kind of a big pork state. But yeah, that's just some things that we can do to maybe switch things up, or if there's something new that maybe they would want to try, or if there's breakfast items that if people wanted to do a breakfast program, there's some ideas in there on what to serve for each different portion size or each different category with each different food to make it a complete meal. So that's one of the things that we're kind of learning about is how to add more variety, to not only make sure that DRIs are made, but the dietary guidelines are also followed. But it's basically the DRIs, dietary guidelines, but then also the food preferences of the participants. You want to be able to make sure that we kind of complete that whole picture, providing them with a nutritious meal, but also complementing their wants and needs too. So it's not an easy thing. So as you all know. So.
Eric,
And
this is Susie in Omaha, and we offer a choice menu
Mhm.
to the majority. Our centers most are catered, and that has eliminated a lot of the complaints, because if they don't like the meat, potato, vegetable meal, they can have a chef salad or a sandwich with some sides. I know not everybody can do that. We're lucky with our caterer, but that has really eliminated a lot of our complaints. And I think giving them choice, whether they like both of them or not, it gives them a choice. So I really think that, and there's nothing wrong with meat and potatoes. As a dietitian, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a good way to get your vitamin C in if you use a vitamin C enriched potato flakes. But yeah, our choice menus have really helped. I think that's, as the baby boomers come up, I think they're going to want more choice rather than our older seniors too.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point, Susie. And I remember, was it Arlington we went to that we had, you could either get a salad or I can't remember
Yeah,
where we were.
yeah, we have
That's where we were. Yeah.
any of our centers that are catered by
Mhm.
Treat America. We offer
Yeah.
a choice for the congregate program. Now we don't for the our Meals on Wheels program, but
Right.
for the I don't think Caitlin would want to do that.
Yeah, that's
Well, we do
that's
have some different diet selections for them, but for
right.
the senior centers, we have, like tomorrow, we're having a roast beef and blue cheese chef salad with sauteed red onions on it. So, I mean, they're really doing an upscale chef.
That sounds great. That sounds
Yeah,
amazing. That
it
sounds
is. It's
really
very
good.
good.
Yeah. Well, and that's just a great option for them because yeah, they may want that alternative and
Well, and we have an Oriental chicken salad that has chicken strips that have been sauteed in a little bit of Oriental sauce, and then there's chow mein noodles and shredded carrots, and it really goes over well.
that's awesome. Do you think here's a good question for you, Susie. Uh here's a scenario. Do you think it's one of those things where when you maybe introduce something new, did you just kind of do it and then get the response back, or was there a really big push to come up with something new? Do you kind of know the history, the
Well,
origin behind
years
that?
ago, we started having a choice menu a couple times a month just to kind of try it out. And then we
Yeah.
started it every Wednesday, and then we expanded it to 4 days a week, and then we expanded it to 5. We work on a 3-month cycle menu. So the menus are repeated every 3 months. We have a spring cycle, summer cycle, fall, and winter cycle. And each year when we reinstate the new cycle, we go in and look at, okay, this did not seem to go very well, so let's find an alternate for that. And so some of the things we change it sometimes in mid-cycle if we find something that's a real not well received. And believe me, I'm sure you all can attest to this. Our seniors let us know if they don't like it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet
But,
that that's.
we started out with a choice menu just a couple times a month, just to kind of figure out the logistics of doing it. Because it is a little bit more challenging because you've got to figure out, of course, again, we're catered, so that makes it a little bit easier for me. I don't have to worry about the production and the ordering and all of that kind of stuff that those of you that do your own preparation have to do. So, but it goes well.
Yeah, that's that's good. Thank you so much, Izzy. That's a good history, knowing that, it's definitely it's possible,
Yeah.
and I think that there's some resources in, this nutrition toolkit that there's actually some success stories, and there's training tools in here. There's some tips and guides. There's innovative models. There's presentations and program basics that give a little bit more information on implementing new ideas. Like there's different grantees in here that had some success stories in different states. So those are kind of neat to look through. And there's a lot of information here. There's PowerPoints. There's even just like tip sheets here. It's almost overwhelming. So even if you have a couple people go through it with you and find things, it's just links on top of links. It's pretty well organized, but you could get lost in it too if you are looking for something and don't bookmark it or whatnot. So anyways, well, I did want to show you that and introduce you to those resources. But does anybody else have any other comments or?
Rick, I have one before you go on to the
Of course,
next.
yes.
And
Yes.
It's got a little bit to do with menus, and this is Carmen from Blue Rivers. In regards to that state contract through US Foods,
Mm-hmm.
does anyone use US Foods, or who's the main supplier? Is there a real cost savings with US Foods compared to, say, Cisco or Cashway?
Well, first of all, let anybody who's on this call, if you want to shout out who you're utilizing, that's a good question. I don't know at this time. I haven't compared the two, but if somebody has some more information, please let us know.
I'm pretty sure, we use Cashway, and I think we do the same menu model as you, Carmen.
So do we at the aging office of Western Nebraska.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Is most people are utilizing Cashway at this point. The majority of folks.
It's getting pricey through there, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it just depends on kind of what it is, and things are going up and down, and and if they can split cases, or obviously that could be cheaper if they can split cases. If they can't, then that you're kind of stuck with that.
We've kind of gone back to Cisco and get very few items from Cashway, but I'm just curious if anybody uses the US Foods with the state vendor contract. I tell you what I'll try and do before our meeting next month in Kearney. Let me see if I can do some checking and maybe some comparisons of items and see if that won't help. Because I haven't had a chance to really take a look at that and dive into that, but we just got that from I think Cynthia last week. And I think it'd be definitely worth, with the cost of food rising as way it is. It might be something to look into if we can get better pricing. Now, I don't know how far west US Foods goes, but I know we have it in our area in southeast Nebraska. So I'll do some research and see if I can't report that back to everybody next month in Kearney.
That'd be great, Carmen. Thank you so much. No, that would be fantastic. Like I said, I just between the two of them, I don't know enough. But I would say that if it's riding on the back of what the state's using, that could be a cost saving measure. And so, yeah, if you wanted to take a look at that and do a little research just to see, like the cost of item A versus, and with US Foods versus item A with Cashway, or even Cisco, that could be a really, really good resource for people. And then they can kind of understand, where they're going to go, or how many different items they want to order for one place compared to the other, or maybe it's, a blend of different things. And then obviously location is another thing too, because of shipping. So
Eric,
yes.
this is Angie. We do have a couple of centers that do use the U.S. Foods, but I could not tell you
Oh, good.
the difference between them and Cashway as far as price or quality. That I couldn't tell you that. I'd have to talk to them and see what
And see
they
what they
use.
say.
Yeah, 'cause they're ordering from both. So
Okay.
I'm assuming that they're ordering on specials and prices and quality. So I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I've never used them.
Okay. That's all
Find
right.
out.
Well, yeah, it just depends on, because I remember, working at the heart hospital and ordering, Cisco every week, and seeing that, things change, and making sure that orders are complete, making sure that they're and especially with different prices in food now, hopefully maybe things stabilize a little bit, and it won't be such a roller coaster, but we'll just have to kind of see where we go with that. But yeah, if anybody wants to compare prices and take a look at one place and compare it to another and report back, that would be very, very useful. All about sharing information. All right. Well, very good. Well, anybody else have any other questions or comments? All right. Well, I'm going to turn this over to my buddy Lance. Where's Lance over there? There you go.
Hello. Hi,
And
everyone.
I'm going to have Lance just take this away, and he's going to go for it. And I'll turn it over to you, sir.
All right, thank you. Well, everyone, I am going to be sharing some changes with the senior center's external SharePoint site that we have made, and wanted you all to be aware of. We have posted an update out on the public website of our current format. We're in the process of changing the published format, so that will be out there hopefully within the next couple of weeks. We aren't running into changes nearly as frequently as we were during the early stage and middle stage of the pandemic. So we've had the opportunity, after going through the senior center survey and some of that, to make some changes to the external SharePoint site. Generally speaking, when you go out and look at the senior center area, you won't notice any changes until you click on the individual centers. For this purposes, we're just going to use Aon kind of as an example. So we will open this up. What you'll notice is this form has changed some. We've taken out the status section, and the limited services due to COVID-19 have been removed from the form. What we have added in is because of some of the feedback that we received from the senior center survey, we added in a AAA liaison and a liaison email field. So one of the things that we are asking everyone to do is in the near future to go in and make some of these updates so that we do have the most current information. What this means is who at the AAA needs to be contacted for anything that may arise for that senior center. Again, that information will not be published, but we are asking for, because up here, what we were finding is sometimes we weren't putting in the person at the senior center. We were putting maybe the AAA contact up here. So really up here under the published information about the senior center, we are really looking to make sure that that information is reserved for someone at the actual senior center or a contact there at the senior center. Any person related to the AAA will be posted here as the liaison, and then the email for contact for that person. One of the other changes that we have placed on here is this last modified. So when you come in here, you're not able to edit this. Basically what that is the last time that someone made a change or updated and saved this page. So what we are asking people to do is to go out, take a look at this, update, make sure you have the correct site manager, center director, the correct services checked for that senior center. When you click edit item, you will see the rest of these things appear. So this will be all of the services offered. So what we did is we were calculating a field prior to this update. We were calculating to-go meals based on some of the COVID services. It's just now here out as a services offered. So if you are offering to-go meals, Amy and I updated it today for everyone that was offering to-go meals that had updated it in the past. So you don't have to go update it in that area right now, but go out there and update the AAA liaison and the liaison email. And then if you do see services that aren't marked that they do offer, please take the time to correct those items. And I believe those are the changes that we have implemented that you may notice or have questions about. So please take a look at that and make sure that gets updated.
Awesome.
I just
Very
want to piggyback one thing there. Part of the reason why we have the last edit date there is that if you wanted to see, oh, hey, when was the last time that I messed with these? When you actually click on the item, like right now, until you hit edit, and even if you click edit, it doesn't change your last modified date. But if you clicked save instead of close, that's going to update for you. If you hit close, it's not going to update for you. So even if you just look at something for a second and say, oh, yep, everything still looks good, by clicking that save option, you're kind of making a note in the system at the last time you looked at it. Because it'll make an easier way for you to say, oh, well, you know, I haven't looked at them in 6 months. I should probably like update everything. And with the liaison, don't worry about it if your AAA runs the senior centers. So if you have AAA employees staffing the senior centers, then just go ahead and keep that senior center director's name up at the top. This is just more if there might be a AAA person embedded at the senior center, then that's where we put in that AAA liaison.
Perfect. Yep, those are both really, really good explanations. This looks really good. Does anybody have any questions?
Hi, Amy. This is Connie from Northeast. So the liaison for us who contract, I guess it would depend on what the question is, because it could be 4 different people, depending on whether it's fiscal or nutrition or.
I wouldn't even worry about it then. If you don't have a specific person, then it doesn't really apply to you guys.
Okay.
So what happens in some counties is, or some places is, you might have somebody working from the county or somebody working from the AAA. That's also at the senior center. So if you pulled up our senior center list, you would actually see 2 senior center directors listed. We just don't want both names in there. But if you've only ever had one, then you don't have to worry about it.
Great question.
Amy or Lance, I have a question. This is Susie from Omaha. I went in and tried to print the listing of the senior center from the quick print link over on the right. And it was a very old list. It had the name of the manager 2 managers ago. And I have updated the SharePoint throughout as we changed staff, but it did not get updated on the senior center listing. Is there something I need more to be doing to make it updated?
So with that, I would make sure that you've clicked the yellow enable button. And I think Lance's has it opening up now, where it says like print NOAA senior centers. When that spreadsheet opens up, there will be a yellow ribbon across the top that says enable.
Yeah.
If you
So
don't
I have
click,
to go in and update that list also.
no. So when you open up that Excel spreadsheet, there's going to be a ribbon across the top that says, hey, is it okay to look at this stuff?
Right.
There you go. Edit workbook.
Yep. And so when you click that enable button, it will do it for you.
Okay.
So if you can see my screen here, let me open one that I haven't enabled, or hopefully haven't enabled. And you'll be able to see better what that means.
It remembers it for the most part, but sometimes it doesn't. And so that's why he's looking for that.
Yeah, that one remembered.
No.
Okay.
That's okay. So if you're in this spot, go ahead and click on your edit workbook. Now, if you don't see the enable content or something like that, and you're like, why is everything out of date? Go ahead and go up to the data menu. And it should refresh at the beginning, but you can always click the refresh all button. And you'll see some stuff kind of happening down along the bottom where it looks at things. This one is probably up to date now. It's hard to tell because we're kind of looking at stuff that doesn't change a lot. But if you go to that data refresh all, and if you still run into issues while you're doing that, if you run into the problem, please contact Lance or I, because if you update it in the spreadsheet, it won't save it. It will actually overwrite it. So you'll end up doing a bunch of extra work that will get thrown out as soon as you close the file, even if you save it. So if you're running into issues,
So we need to go in and worry about updating that as well as the individual information by center.
no. The only reason, so let's just say, Lance, could you make the Excel spreadsheet bigger, please?
Yeah.
Okay, and can you make the 100% into like 150%, please? Okay, so if we see, let's just go ahead and use Guide Rock as an example here. Row 12, Guide Rock Senior Center Community Hall. And we'll notice that there's not a site manager, senior center director listed. So I'm going to go ahead and have Lance close this. We're going to fill in Guide Rock. We're going to save it on the SharePoint site. And then we're going to see how that works. The only place that you should ever have to update stuff is going to be through this list, and then it feeds in. So if we just put in test person or something like that, that's fine. We'll roll this back afterwards. We're not going to mess up your stuff, Rachel. So we'll go ahead and click save. Okay. So now if we go back to the print Midland, we're going to open it up. So go to that senior center list. And because Lance at one point of time had the little yellow ribbon across the top where it says read only, there was a second yellow ribbon that said enable content. It updated that test manager, Rachel.
Okay.
So
All right, I'll give it a try.
Yep, and it's usually just one little switch that needs to be flipped.
Yep. It will say right below edit workbook, there'll be another yellow bar that'll say enable content. And once you click that, then it basically is like allowing it to refresh.
Okay. I'll let you know if I have trouble.
Oh yeah, you know what? It's one of those things where I forget. Like there's definitely been a couple of times where I'm like, oh yeah, I actually need to enable content for that to happen. But that stuff gets a little weird sometimes. It's a little tricky. That's the downside to SharePoint is that little hiccup.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Lance and Amy, very much. Thank you for walking us through that, and Susie for asking questions too. It's really good. Sometimes people just don't forget, but it's good to have a refresher. So thank you all very much. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much kind of the end. Does anybody else have any other questions for Amy or Lance? Thank you both very much for being on here and taking us through that. All right. Well, if not, everybody's good, you can get a little over 10 minutes back on your day. Look forward to seeing you all in Kearney, and that will be here before we know it. So come with questions. We'll be doing presentations, all sorts of fun stuff, and hopefully the weather's good, which should be, but you never know. So, alrighty, everyone. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you later.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.